they got so much more in them. Like, what are you doing? It's so much more greatness and so much, nah, I'm chill, I'm chilling, I'm chill. I'm saying, and that's how I look at it. Like, dude, why are you doing this right now?
Your level of workout and those other aspects of the level of diet, changes me. I have an opportunity now not just to try to make myself better, but I can pass that stuff down to my kids.
Like, what made you decide to go with me, and what made you decide to continue to be with me? What was that driving factor, that driving force? And then how did I really contribute and really help? Or is it really like, what was your deciding factor? And did you start slow? Of course you did. You started slow, then you progressed forward. And that's really good. But I just want to know, like, just your whole mindset and everything from the first day we met to all that. You know what I'm saying? Just give me that real perspective. That's what I'm thinking about. That's what I'm thinking about in regards to this podcast, this conversation with us. And then we'll just go deeper and we'll indulge in more things. But you don't have to share anything you don't want to. You know what I'm saying?
To the nice, easygoing workout. And you came over and says, well, I can show you how to up your game a bit. And I said, well, okay, why not? And then you put me on that incline thing with trying to, go to that incline 25 and still keep a decent pace. I say, man, I can run pretty well, but he's showing me stuff that I never thought of before. And I also was coming off, that was back in December, and man, I gotta shed some of this weight. I gotta start getting ready for March, because that's gonna be my first race. And you're offering to, help me do something different. And I thought, I might need to do something different. I thought I could probably get to where I wanted to be, by the time of the race, but I wasn't sure. But just with the treadmill experience, you showed me something that I had no idea. So I said, okay, I'll give this guy a shot. My background, I'm an engineer, so I treated it like an experiment. I'm going to try this experiment with Simon and see what the result is. It's kind of like in chemistry, you shake up two things and you see what color comes out. Well, that's what I was doing. I say, well, why not? Give you a few tries and see what's happening. And time after time, it was the same experience where you're showing me things that I never thought I would be doing, and ways that, my body was kind of screaming at me. Man, there's some weakness here that Simon's finding that I didn't know I had. So as those experiments kept coming, and I'm seeing those results and understanding, where I can improve and how you can find those places I didn't know exist. I say, I'm just going to keep doing this thing. The other thing is, you're a light heavyweight boxer. I was never really any good, but I tried boxing in college. I had my talent, I guess, in a way, because I could be really skinny and lean. And I enjoyed the sport. And I think anybody that boxes, when they see another boxer, they know what those folks go through. There's an instant mutual respect for guys that have kind of gone in and come out of the ring. So gave you some street cred there for your experience in that regard as well. And I had a goal of 185 when I started with you. I'm at 185 to 183 now. So that means I just changed the goal. So now my new goal is 176. My wife teaches yoga and Zumba at another club. And we have a scale at home. And her goal for me is to see 80 kilograms on that scale. So 80 would be 176 pounds. So I'm working to that 176 to hit that 80 for my wife, but not just for her, for me too.
Yeah, exactly. I'm new here. I'm just, introducing myself to a lot of people. But as I got to know you and listen to your story and hear your background and understand you in a way that, that put me in a way that I can really be like, wow, I see a lot of strength in you. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole ideal of you going to China, not only going, but living in Asia. You just lived there for a long time. And then, being an engineer and had your own business, and then, all the things, and then you got sued, and then, a lot of, but you kept moving. Then you got a wife and with the kids, and she was Oriental, and I thought about my background, then to see, your family, and then, you being a little runt, and then all the struggles you had growing up, but how you kept overcoming things, and how you never let those things stop you, and you kept, just triumphantly accomplishing the things that you wanted to accomplish. And then hearing about your sister and your brother, and I was like, this dude is a beast. He's really, didn't see in the picture. When I seen a picture of you with the boar hanging upside down, and I said, wow, okay, you're an engineer, but you're also a warrior. So, when I see you working out and doing that run, I'm like, there's so much more inside you. And seeing you boxing, the way you box, I'm like, I can see the warrior in you, right? And I'm like, dude, do you know the energy and the potential you have inside of you? And I just want to help you pull it out. That's it. Because you know how some things, you see in people that they don't see in themselves. You know what I'm saying? They may not really glimpse it. And that's the whole thing. That's my job, is to see things in people that they honestly probably don't see in themselves, and then help them pull it out. And then hopefully it'll go on to your career, into your relationship, and to everything else. And you can just be like, you know what? I can excel and elevate and be, actually, I can do more. Because you got so much in you. And I just wanted to help and contribute. Be honest with you. That's it. It wasn't about, money. It was really about, let me really dial in and just really help him pull out that. You know what I'm saying? Who he is. It's not about what you've done in the past. Because you told me about, your struggles, and it's not, all right, forget all that. That's done. Now it's about moving forward and accomplishing this and that. That's awesome. So that's what I wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? And what I do is I try to use fitness as just the catalyst for that. You know what I'm saying? Just use fitness as a catalyst, but there's so many ways to elevate and just manifest that greatness through that. Because once you start seeing it, like, guess what? You said, I got to 185. I did it. Now the next goal is 176. These are goals, right? But I'm not too into goals. What I'm into is like the process and the journey. Because what you're supposed to do is you got to that 185. Now you're supposed to be like, how did I do that? What really transponded in that process? And then you take that process and you apply it to other areas of your life. So it's not about the goal, it's about the process. It's about the methods and that consistency and not giving up, coming even when you were sick. You know what I'm saying? Just like not coming on the off days and just really hitting it. And coming early in the morning and just being consistent during bad weather and just always like showing up. You know what I'm saying? And giving 100, like to your point where you like passing out on the ground. Oh my gosh, you on the ground like, feeling like you're dying, right? And you not dying, but you definitely killing, and you killing a part of that you that shouldn't be there, and you destroyed it, and now it's about, elevating and going to the next spot. That's what the process you're supposed to take and apply it to your career, to your relationship, to your just every status of social activity that you do. You apply that there, and that's how you elevate, man.
The changing of the brain, like you're mentioning, to take that process and fan it out to all aspects of my life. Mm-hmm. You've helped me a lot. You're not a marriage counselor, but man, you did some great marriage counseling. Mm-hmm. With me and my wife, understanding, how I can, put some of those broken pieces back together. Mm-hmm. It was, just in this short time we've known each other. Yeah, I've gone through some interesting, I call them my speed bumps in life. Mm-hmm. Things that kind of hit you, slow you down a bit. Mm-hmm. But I've been getting over them. And through your help, some of those speed bumps I was able to get over a lot easier than I had in the past. And, you know, it's, you know, the other, you call yourself the workout minister. Well, I've really learned to enjoy your preaching. The new levels, the new devils is something that just stays in my head. You know, I've had my things I've overcome with, you know, drinking too much and all those kind of things, but it was surprising. I probably already knew it, but you kind of cut through the fog in my brain to let me understand that, you know, food became a substitute for the other things that I had given up. And eating too much and just wanting to sit on the couch, eat potato chips and watch whatever crazy Netflix movie and veg out. You know, it was my new demon I had to deal with. And it, you know, it takes me out in all sorts of different ways. It takes me out physically. You know, I can't get to my next goal of weight loss or, you know, my triathlon competition from eating potato chips on the couch. It also takes me out of that place where I'm good with my wife, where, you know, she's working hard cleaning the kitchen or making meals or taking care of the kids, and I'm sitting there vegging out on the couch. Takes me out in that relationship too. So that aspect of finding those new devils and then working towards, you know, crushing them. You know, you talk about me maybe having a little bit of heart, you know, the warrior instinct or whatever it is. I guess I've always had that, but it definitely helps to have you in that picture to let me know that there's still a lot of heart left. I still have something more that I can push for, some new level to get to. I don't have to be satisfied at the plateau that I was at before. I can reach that higher stage in the mountain. And one of the things I've told myself is, you know, if I'm not climbing up, I'm falling down. And you know, sometimes I have to have someone else from the outside recognize that I'm not climbing up anymore. I'm getting kind of satisfied sitting on my plateau. Well, the plateaus don't just stay. Eventually I backtrack. I start losing what I've had. So, you know, I definitely appreciate, you know, that process that you've given me. You know, when you talk about me dying on the floor, you know, I'm former military. Also, my boxing coach was similar, where I throw that trust into those folks that are looking from the outside. My body and my mind is screaming, "You're gonna die, you're gonna die," but because I've had that experience with other folks, you know, my coach, my drill sergeant, I realize I'm not gonna die. They're watching me. If I was gonna die, they'll probably call the ambulance and they're gonna take care of my dying butt. But I throw that trust in, and then that helps me push into that, maybe call it pain and suffering, but it's really that place of challenge where it forces my body to become something better, bigger than I was before. You know, throw myself all in. And once I'm all in, that's all I can give. And thankfully you're there to show me and understand, yeah, he's all in now. So we can move on and come back a couple days later and try again, all in again.
Well, I'm killing. I always say this. I said, do you want to die or do you want to kill? And nobody really wants to die, but everybody you want to be in a position to kill. And so the whole thing is to kill that weakness inside of you. Don't die, but kill. And so when you're working out, that's the aspect, and that's the warrior you both be going for. Killing every ounce of weakness you have in your body, because when you kill it, then you become alive. You start to really rise. The weakness dies and the strength grows and it becomes much stronger. And that's what I mean. You're not dying, you actually killing. And I can see it, and you coming in better and stronger, and you starting to recognize and understand your true potential. And I promise you, in another year, you're gonna be talking about elevating in your career. You're gonna be like, you know what? boom, boom. Because you're going to understand that those people in those positions, they don't go as hard as you do. You're going to be shaking their hand and you're going to be talking to them and you're going to be like a shark. You're going to be like, yo, you guys are missing out. And this is how I can elevate and excel. And people are going to recognize that and you're going to elevate. Watch what I tell you. Because you mentioned your career, you mentioned your personal life, you mentioned your workout, but it's going to transcend and your cup will overflow. It's going to overflow into that career, and that's where, you know what I'm saying, you're going to elevate for you. I want that definitely for you because I can see it in you. And then hearing your story, how you thought you had it in the business, and it was going to go right for a minute, but then I had a couple of setbacks, and now you got it right though. You know, the drinking is gone, the being lazy is gone. So now you're going to start thinking, you know what? I got rid of all that. Now I'm more focused. I'm more on point. And you're going to transcend. It's just logical. It's going to be awesome. So I commend you on just, giving me the opportunity and trusting me. I think it's a God thing. I always do. Because I'm not, I don't do marketing and all that stuff, right? I always believe that God just, he lifts the veil from somebody. And he just, he opens somebody's ears. And I always try to speak from the heart because I try to bypass the mind. So, because when you speak from the heart, I truly believe that's when you reach the heart. And the mind and just the whole everything, you just bypass all that. Because people, they trying to think logical. What are you doing in front of me? Who are you? I'm busy. I got something to do. So I try to bypass all that. Just speak straight. I want to speak to your heart. Excuse me. This is what I try to do. Excuse me. I don't want to disturb you, but I got something to say that is hard right here. And that's just my goal. You know what I'm saying? That's what I try to do. And I think that's a God thing. That's supposed to be like some total divine intervention that goes on. Because God, if you read in certain aspects, right? He says, don't worry about what you're going to say. I'm going to say it when it's time to be said. And that's it. So I just try to live by that, and hopefully it works. And when it does work, I always say that's a God thing. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't know what I was going to say. I didn't have no pitch. You know what I'm saying? I don't do that. You know what I'm saying? There's no pitch. I'm just going to speak from here and just let it ride. And so that's just how I improvise. And I do appreciate you giving me the opportunity and just, just the ear to really listen and just open up and just have that vulnerability and that trust and that transparency. Those things are rare from men. I usually get it a lot from women, but not too much from men. So you had a serious special breed, and you're going to transcend and elevate and excel. I believe so. The journey when it comes to working out and my workouts generally, and you can tell me, but I'm just going to say, like, if I look at it from a personal standpoint, and then I'll just relate it to being a trainer, it's a forced enjoyment. You know what I'm saying? It's like enjoying pain. It's like, because this is not going to be an easy process. Getting up, I get up like 2:30 in the morning, and that is honestly not an enjoyable thing. But I know it's going to make me better. You know what I'm saying? I know it's going to make me it's going to make me stronger. And I read these sayings sometimes, like there's this Asian saying, right? You might know this one. There's this Asian saying, a man who wakes up 360 days before the sunrise will feed his family. You know what I'm saying? That's like powerful to me. I remember reading that. I think I read it in a Malcolm Gladwell's book, right? But I remember reading that and I was like, yo, that's so true. I got to make sure I get up every day before the sunrise. And I do that for prayer anyway. But I'm just saying, even though I do it, I have to force myself to enjoy it. I don't enjoy it in the moment. I don't enjoy the process though. You know what I'm saying? Even like when I used to go running, I used to run up hills. I didn't actually enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? But I made sure I did it because after, when I've accomplished it, and it's all said and done, and I see my kids and my wife, and then it's like, yeah, this is worth it. And then people, you talk to people and you look a certain way, and you feel a certain way, and you're not in the same category as your peers. It's like, yeah, it's worthwhile. Then I enjoy that. But as far as what I do to get to that, I can't say I enjoy it. So when I talk to people that I train, one of the things that I ask them is, what is your tolerance level? And I try to be nice, and I say things like, for being discomfort, for being awkward, and for slight pain, because that's what you're going to experience. A lot of discomfort, a lot of awkwardness, because we're in the gym, so people are going to be looking, because you're going to be crawling on the floor. You're going to be doing some weird stuff. You're going to have big knee pads on, something that nobody else has. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to be awkward. It's going to be feeling awkward. And then you're going to experience some pain. I mean, that's what it's going to take. Because honestly, I'm not like a doctor when you goes to like plastic surgery. But I am going to doctor you, and you're going to go through some real pain without any anesthesia. So you got to be ready prepared for that. It's not going to be a walk in the park. So if you want that, that's why I say I'm not for everybody. But I make sure I put myself through that every morning. You know what I'm saying? I make sure I experience what my clients is going to experience. And then I just be like, yo, all right, this is something that when I talk to somebody, I'll be like, you can do that. I think you got it in you. And then we just take that journey and see if they got it in them. And then if they got it in them, awesome. And if they don't, I'd be like, yo, you need to level up, you know, because you're resting on your laurels. You're not really pushing yourself to where you need to be, to where you can really be successful. And they'd be like, what you mean? You know, I got this and I got that. But then I'm like, but you got so much more in you that you can do. And that's it. And I don't want nobody that I meet to really be like, to not elevate and excel and reach the goals that I believe they can reach. It's not that they have inside of them. Why do that? Why rob the world, rob your family, rob society, just because you're comfortable, or just because you found a place in your life to where you like, I'm just resting. And you robbing people of your greatness. You're not doing it. You're not really living the life that God has given you to live. You stopped. That's not fair. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I look at it. Like, dude, why are you doing this right now? And it's one of the reasons why I left Cali, believe it or not. Because I've dealt with like people that's kind of successful in a way, right? But they started chilling, like I'm good. But they got so much more in them. Like, what are you doing? It's so much more greatness in someone, I'm chilling. And they get lazy, man. I don't like that. Because I think they're robbing people, and I don't think they're living out God's true, what he has in store for them. Because God works through people sometimes, and you know, you don't want to block people's potential and greatness and all that. So I try to really help people, you know, uncover that greatness they have in them. How about you? So that's my process.
Yeah, I think the, shortcut method of losing weight with the Ozempic. About 2 years ago, I tried this stuff, and it worked in the sense I shed pounds. But as soon as I stopped taking Ozempic, pounds came back. Where what you have given me is a method to, one, shed the weight, but two, have a constant getting healthier. Eating the right stuff, also not eating as much. Even when I was on diets before, I figured, well, I'm eating good stuff, I can eat as much as I think I want. And then I couldn't figure out why I wasn't losing weight while I was eating too much. So you've pointed out things, that, those sacrifices I make actually are not all that difficult. I put my heart into it and get it done. But those are the things that truly give me the reward back. Not the shortcut methods, but, the true changing my way of life method. And, you talk about Asian sayings. One of my favorite one that people don't often realize came from China and came from Confucius, I believe, is no free lunch. there's a whole lot of shortcut methods today that are advertised and pushed to, give people what they want to get to. But in the end, there's no free lunch. Keep taking that shortcut method. I think it inspires weakness rather than strength. It doesn't get me to that. It might look like I'm getting to the next level, but it's just fake. Talk about the plastic surgeon. Well, a lot of that stuff to me now has become kind of like the plastic surgery, where you get that, I'd say maybe image or get that number on the scale, but it's just like mist or smoke. It'll disappear because you don't have the thing behind it that'll truly keep you there and keep you moving forward. And you talk about journey. Yeah, the workout, I come in the mornings too. I get up early. But a lot of that's due to, well, I've got a lot of stuff going on. I'm a full-time job. I got full-time family. I have to do what I have to do to pay that price to allow myself, to have some level of physical fitness. Now you're bringing that up to another level. I was coming in early before you, but your level of workout and those other aspects of the level of diet, changes me to another path. I'm taking up another path up that mountain to get to another level that I never thought I would be able to get to. And I'll see where it goes. I don't know where I'm going to end up. But I know I do have a whole lot more that I can bring to the table in terms of what I can do in the workout, but also what I can do at home and what I can do in the job. Instead of, fighting my stress with food, I work on, maybe tapping into, the God thing every once in a while, or maybe having those tougher conversations with my wife or my coworkers. Getting through that obstacle that I had before that held me back. Build my relationship stronger. The physical part of it is a part of it, but you've helped me understand that I can take things there and then push it into the spiritual aspect of my life and those that loving aspect of my life. And as a whole, I become better. Not just being able to do jumping jacks, which I was pretty happy where I actually could get to the dang goal you set for me.
You did it.
But beyond that, yeah, I'm going to push the jumping jacks, but it's helping me change my way of thinking. Change my brain. I had my son come out here that one time, where to give him an example of what you do to me, to let him experience some of that. I have an opportunity now, not just to try to make myself better, but I can pass that stuff down to my kids. And, I went out running with my oldest daughter and my son. My son wants to play football. He has some conditioning work to do. My oldest daughter is pretty lean and mean. She plays tennis. And she could kind of hang with me, for a while. But now, instead of looking for that couch and the potato chips, I can look for opportunities to get out on the road with my wife, or my wife too, for that matter. She teaches yoga, Zumba. I try to get to her yoga class on Sundays. So instead of wasting my time in chilling, I dive into those things that I normally think I wouldn't be doing, but find out that there's so much reward in those things versus what I was doing before. More time with the kids, more time with the wife, better with the people I work with, and I manage a small team of engineers. Better for those engineers, to inspire them, to be a mentor, to be maybe just a little bit nicer, where I'm not necessarily the drill sergeant every day, where I understand that they have their life challenges too. So that journey becomes a journey into a much, 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 much bigger world for me today. I came into this gym trying to get in shape to do short distance triathlons, be semi-competitive in the sense, not falling out, but there's so much more to be had. and you're helping me understand those obstacles that'll get in front of me, that'll limit me in what I can do, not just for myself, but those folks around me that I say deserve a whole lot of my time, especially my family.
And I just ask God to bless me to do that all the time. So that's a God thing right there. But you hit it, pow, because that's it. That's the goal, you know. And you were just open to receive that, and it happened. And so let's continue that, man. I thank you for that. I appreciate it. I think you're awesome. And let's just continue to elevate and excel and be the best person we possibly can be. Because we got to remember, the whole premise is always this: God said we are after his likeness and after his image, right? So then that means we are the visual image of the invisible God. That's what we are. So now we have a duty and a responsibility to try to be and do as much as possible to make sure we represent God in the best way we possibly can. And that's all we do. And that's what I try to share with everybody. Be as godlike as you possibly can, because God is with us, you know? And they have this scripture where they say, God is as close to you as your jugular vein. That's amazing to me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, wow. It didn't say your heart, it said your jugular vein. You know, and you know what made me always quote that? Because my sister had a heart transplant. They took her heart out and put somebody else's in. She had a kidney transplant too, right? So when I heard God is close to you as your jugular vein, you can't replace a jugular vein, dude. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, OMG, that's powerful. And I just always love that. So I just say that because, you know, being that we have that, we have a duty to be and do as much as we possibly can to help and just aspire. Not just to help people, like we giving out charity and we helping people, but to be the best person we possibly can be and just live that image. And that image will really just transcend to other people. And if we don't say one word to those people, they will just look at us and be like, that dude, he's doing his thing. I need to do my thing too. That's it. You know what I'm saying? So you're doing that. Congratulations, Tom. Appreciate that. That's awesome. So that's it. That's good.